I wrote in my notes here a quote from the great Jane Goodall: "The greatest danger to our future is apathy." So caring about the world, having an optimism for the world, having a hope for the world is the way to help have an impact, help save it. Uh, but on that, I have to ask you about Jane. She passed away on October 1st. Some humans in this human civilization of ours can open our eyes to the beauty of the world, and she is one of the best of them. And she's had an impact on your life. Maybe can you speak to the impact that she's had?
I mean, when I grew up, my parents, being dyslexic, I couldn't read for a very long time. And so my parents read to us every night, which was amazing considering how hard they were working. But they'd find the time to give us, an hour of reading every night, whether it was Lord of the Rings or Sherlock Holmes or Jane Goodall. And so I grew up with Jane being this figurehead of conservation and of adventure and sort of a living historical figure, this legendary person. And so then one time, right around the time that I've been going to the jungle for a few years, I got to go see Jane speak. I think it was at NYU. And, sitting in the crowd, watched her completely amazed. And I had, at the time, my cousins had been telling me that I should write down my stories of taking care of an anteater and stories of catching anacondas. And they're like, right, these are such good stories. And so I'd been writing them down. And I just remember after the talk, she did it, at least an hour on stage, and then thousands of people lined up, at least hundreds of people lined up. And she sat there, and each of those people wants a moment with this legend. And so she has to take a picture, shake their hand. They say, "You mean so much to me." She says, "Thank you." And then they move on and they say, "We'll send you the picture." Okay, great. And so I got my moment, and we waited in line for a long time, and I gave her this manila envelope with 2 chapters in it. And one chapter was Lulu the giant anteater from Mother of God, and the other chapter was me, JJ, and Pico out on the river catching anacondas and just talking about how amazing the jungle was. And I said, "I'd love it if you could endorse my book that doesn't exist yet." And I felt like such a loser doing that. And I felt so stupid because I feel like everyone was probably asking something of her. And it's incredibly draining to talk to that many people, even if it is for a good reason. And 48 hours later, she got back and she said, this is incredible. I would love to write a recommendation for your book as soon as you find a publisher. And what happened with that is that Jane, the way I think of it is, she waved her very powerful magical wand in my direction, and she had the incredible compassion and presence to actually, after talking to that many people and being on the road 300 days a year and being Jane Goodall, this living legend scientist, to actually do something so mundane as look at some kids writing. And of course, when I went to publishers, they said, "Jane, who said that they would endorse your book?" Because everyone had said no. Every publisher in New York had already said no. And then after that, HarperCollins took me on. And they said, "Well, if Jane Goodall thinks it's a good idea, then we think it's a good idea." And it became Mother of God. And then because of that, Jungle Keepers, Dax, everything else was stemmed from that. So had Jane not been the legend that she is truly in every moment, my whole career would never have happened, which also means that those thousands of heartbeats and thousands of acres in the Amazon wouldn't be protected because we never would have started Jungle Keepers.
And she did that not because you're special. She did that to everybody.
Yeah.
And that, just imagine the scale of the impact she's had because of that.
Yeah.
And guess what? That you have a bit of that responsibility now as well. There's young people that walk up to you that way. And you have that responsibility of seeing them, of giving them a chance, seeing the potential in every single human being that walks up to you.
It definitely, I would say that we could do 4 hours on just Jane, what she did for humanity, what she did for science, what she did for women, what she did for wildlife, the amount of other people that she inspired and gave careers to, everything she did for me. But to me, that presence of mind, when you reach that level, to not be like worried about your own travel and your own schedule and busy with, getting some rest, and that she actually looked at it has informed how I operate. And indeed, like you say, at this point, as strange as it is, people will stop me on the street and say, "Hey, I watch your videos every night with my kids," and or someone will say, "How do I get your job? I've been watching you for years, and I'd love to help conservation." And so it's made it so that I follow her example, where it's like, you stop what you're doing and you pay attention, because you don't know, that might be the next kid that's out there saving a river, or the next person that makes an innovation that makes it possible to clean rivers, or whatever it is, whatever their dream is. But Jane was in the hope business. She always said it, that not losing hope was key to staying in the fight, and that we live at a time when, that apathy is a poison peddled by the darkness. They're trying to make you feel disoriented and apathetic and scared, and fighting back against that, and having conviction and passion and fire and hope are the only way that we're going to fight that. And she understood that, and she spent her whole life spreading it, guarding the flame against the storm, and tipping her candle to others to light them. I mean, that was her whole thing.